Hello, everyone. Hi, I'm Mukvinder, and I'll be chairing this keynote session today. And it's a pleasure to welcome participants from all across the world. Ladies and gentlemen, this keynote session is entitled Development of Cultural and Heritage Tourism, the Role of UNESCO in Rebuilding Tourism. The keynote will be delivered by Dr. Zhang Chaote. He's a professor of sustainable tourism at Sun Yat-sen University, China. He is UNESCO chairholder of UNESCO Chair on Sustainable Tourism in UNESCO designated sites, and the China representative expert member of ICOMOS, ICTC, in short, for International Council on Monuments and Sites International Cultural Tourism Committee. He's also the member of the World Economic Forum's Global Future Council on Sustainable Tourism. His research focuses on heritage and sustainable tourism. He has published more than 100 papers in top peer-reviewed journals, 2 books about tourism development and heritage conservation, and has acted as principal investigator for 6 NSFC grants, in short for National Natural Science Foundation of China. He serves as editorial member for several top-tier international journals, such as the Journal of Sustainable Tourism, Journal of Destination Marketing and Management. He's also actively involved in conservation and tourism development affairs, including practitioners training, serving as policy consultant, and involved in UNESCO, IUCN, in short for International Union for Conservation of Nature, and ICOMOS related events and work in China. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Zhang will be giving us an overview of the UNESCO World Heritage Center and its role and work on sustainable tourism. He will also outline the role of UNESCO in rebuilding 2 important branches of tourism, culture and heritage tourism, detailing the various platforms that have been established to sustainably develop and manage cultural and heritage sites, share knowledge, and promote dialogue through conferences, meetings, publications, and trainings. Dr. Zhang will also showcase pilot studies in China, which fall under the UNESCO World Heritage and Sustainable Tourism Program. All this then will culminate into his reflections and suggestions on how UNESCO has provided support and built awareness on conservation efforts, hence promoting and revitalizing multiple communities and heritage sites. He will also outline that through UNESCO's programs, tools and strategies have been offered to site managers and other stakeholders to help them sustainably manage their sites. UNESCO has also introduced new approaches to sustainable tourism management to ensure not just a positive visitor's experience, but also safeguard the equitable sharing of the socioeconomic benefits amongst the stakeholders. So let us now hear it from Dr. Zhang. Over to you, Dr. Zhang.
Good morning, dear Chancellor. So, okay, so I will share my screen.
Yes, please.
Okay, can you see?
Yes, we can see. Thank you.
Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm honored to have this chance to talk with you, all of you, to share some information about the role of UNESCO in rebuilding tourism. But actually, when I'm talking about tourism in UNESCO, it means sustainable tourism. It could be in natural heritage or cultural heritage. Usually in North America, talking about heritage tourism, it means natural heritage. In European countries, maybe more about cultural heritage, but in Asian countries, most of them is both means cultural or natural heritage. So today, I just use the word sustainable tourism to talk about cultural and heritage tourism in the World Heritage Sites. So in response to this topic, the role of UNESCO in tourism. So first and most important, I just want to make a brief introduction about the relationship about UNESCO World Heritage Center and sustainable tourism. As we know that even the World Heritage Convention is announced in 1972, but not until 1992, that's 20 years later, the World Heritage Center just established. World Health Center is responsible for all the business related to World Health sites. And but not until 2010, the World Health Center began to focus on some kind of issues related with sustainable tourism, because more and more problems are raised by tourism in the sites. So from my understanding, most of the work are focused on the 4 kind of jobs they do. The first is to establish platforms. The second is to knowledge sharing. The third is to initiate some pilot case studies. And the third is to do some monitoring work, and then to do some best practice work. In this way, to try to promote the sustainable tourism in the World Heritage Sites. And the first and the most important was the understanding of UNESCO about sustainable tourism. But actually, only in 2009, the UNESCO workshop about sustainable tourism in China has made an announcement about sustainable tourism. They said a level of tourism development that activity does not compromise or recreate the heritage value of the place, including World Heritage property over the long term. And in 2012, the World Heritage and the Sustainable Tourism Program clearly declared that in UNESCO site, what you want to do is to facilitate the management and development of sustainable tourism at World Heritage sites through increasing awareness, capacity, and the balanced participation of all stakeholders. And also another way, try to protect the properties and the OUV for the World Heritage sites based on local communities and benefits. And in this way, they try to combine or integrate the tourism principles and the mechanism of heritage conservation. In this way, they try to attract more people engaged in tourism development in the World Heritage sites, try to advocate the policy, strategy, and the framework and the tools to support tourism. And also they try to increase the capacity and try to provide them with the tools and toolkits, and also to promote the tourism with more efficiency and more responsibility to develop tourism based on the local context and needs. And last, they try to promote the quality of tourism product that encourage responsible behavior, either tourist or the local community. And then I'd like to introduce what UNESCO have done for the cultural and heritage tourism or sustainable tourism in the sites. The first and most important is to build or establish platforms. This platform is we call the sustainable program. This program actually started in 2010. Focus on 4 aspects of works. The first and most important is increase the awareness of the local government about the policy and strategy to concern about the negative impact of tourism, and try to make more sustainable way to develop tourism in World Heritage sites. And the second aspect of works to do is to provide local authority with toolkits and some guidance to help them to develop good or sustainable tourism. In this way, try to help them to make tourism develop in a favorable way to benefit local community. And the third work to do is to increase the capacity of local community or some engaged stakeholders. And then the fourth aspect is to help the local destination to develop kind of heritage journeys, or we can say help them to develop some kind of tourism products which is friendly to heritage. And the second way for them to establish a platform is to establish UNESCO chair. Actually, UNESCO chair established its stars in 1992. It's kind of program called ULITWIN program. Right now, there are more than 700 institutions and 117 countries has involved in this kind of program. As far as I remember, there are about 48 UNESCO chair about heritage. For example, cultural heritage, natural heritage, or even industrial heritage, or some other kind of special linking market for the heritage. And there are 8 UNESCO chairs about tourism, or sustainable tourism, or cultural tourism. The UNESCO chair is a platform for
I guess Dr. Zhang has some technical problem there, so hang on in there while he tries and reconnect. Apologies for that. Ladies and gentlemen, let's wait for Dr. Zhang to reconnect. Hello, Dr. Zhang, can you hear us?
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, sorry, I don't know why.
Yeah, it's all right, no worries.
Okay, I will share again.
Sure.
Okay, I just continue. So talking about the UNESCO chairs, actually, UNESCO chair is kind of position for the university to organize kind of a network to promote collaboration between UNESCO, university, and heritage sites to share knowledge, to promote kind of capacity building. And there are about 8 UNESCO chairs about tourism in UNESCO sites. And also another kind of platform that UNESCO established is to is about the World Heritage Institution of Training and Research for Asia and Pacific region. This is the first ever category 2 institutions under UNESCO World Heritage Center, established in 2005, established in China, in Shanghai and Beijing. This institute is aimed to develop, to provide and promote appropriate policy and technologies for strengthening implementation of convention concerning the protection of world cultural and natural heritage by building the capacity of all the professionals and traders and practitioners, craftsmen involved in Asia and Pacific region. And another kind of way that UNESCO try to do is to share knowledge by organized conference. And the first and most important conference is that UNESCO work with UNW together to hold a conference called World Heritage Sustainable Tourism Management in Heritage Sites. It had been in China for about 3 or 4 times in China, as far as I can remember. This conference is to work together to reinforce ongoing collaboration between UNWTO and UNESCO. As far as you know, that most of the destinations are more, active in the activities in the UNWTO because the tourism industry is more important for them. But in this way, UNESCO tried to work with the UNWTO to promote the idea of sustainable tourism, to help them to lower down the negative impact of tourism in destinations. Except that work with UNWTO, the UNESCO themselves also organized kind of World Heritage Forum service. This forum actually is funded by Mercedes-Benz company. With Mercedes-Benz support, they organized a series of heritage forum in all over China. This forum focused on 2 themes. The first is to how to promote effective stakeholder engagement in the planning, development, and management of sustainable tourism, so that local communities are empowered to recognize the challenges and the benefits of destination approach to heritage conservation. But actually, to involve stakeholders in the planning process is not easy. Especially in the last 20 years, a lot of tourism development planning was undertaken by the experts in the universities. This forum tried to increase awareness of the experts, tourism experts, to have the idea to conserve the heritage when they undertake tourism plannings. And the second focus of this system is about how to strengthen the capacity and the resilience of the local destination. The way they're trying to do is to broadcast or distribute the policies, strategies, and frameworks and tools to the local authority, with support, with the help of the local expert to this kind of work to broadcast the idea about the sustainable tourism. And another way that UNESCO to promote sustainable tourism is share knowledge by publication. The first publication that UNESCO promoted is a World Heritage Sustainable Tourism Toolkit and Guidebook. The toolkit is a book just like a guidebook, organize what kind of possible options for a local authority, how to help them to management the negative impact of tourists, and how to make the decision about tourism policy, how to deal with the problems, deal with the issues related with local community, how to deal with the social responsibility behavior of local firms or companies. But of this toolkits used in China, we found that this book is written by a lot of experts in some Western country or developed country. A lot of toolkits is not suitable for China. So in the last 2 years, UNESCO worked with me, try to publish another book called Sustainable Tourism Management at World Health Sites in China. In this book, we especially focused on the context of China and try to organize like a team to find a lot of tours that especially easy for Chinese to use. This book is published at the end of last year, and right now we're going to do some work with this book, try to use the book to training the local community and the local experts and the local authority. In this way, we're trying to make the idea, the concept of sustainable tourism, make more people to understand this idea and to promote sustainable tourism. And another important way that UNESCO to do is to train the local community or the local experts or the local authority. Actually, this work is also funded by the Mercedes-Benz. This project lasts 5 years. As far as I know, this project is got a new contract from this 2021 to 24. It's also insists a kind of capacity building program, kind of workshop or training program. In this way, the UNESCO tried to call for applicants all over China. Usually, all the managers from the most visited cultural World Health Sites in China and work them together and invite some experts to teaching some courses to help them to understand the way and the methods, help them how to use the tools to improve the capacity of
Terribly sorry, ladies and gentlemen. It seems like we have lost Dr. Zhang again. Let's give him a few minutes to come back on. Dr. Zhang, can you hear us? Let's give him a few more minutes. In the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions with regards to what has been shared by Dr. Zhang, please feel free to put your questions in the chat box. It's taking him some time to connect. Again, a reminder, please feel free to drop your questions in the chat box while we wait for Dr. Zhang. It seems like he is back on. Dr. Zhang, can you hear us?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I don't know why.
Oh, you know why you've been dropping off that way? Yeah. Okay, we have you back, Dr. Zhang. Carry on.
I'm so sorry.
No worries, everyone is patiently waiting.
Okay, talking about the training program or the workshop, this is one of the way that UNESCO usually do. In China, we have organized a kind of a training program once a year in different kind of place. And the first and the most important is to pilot case studies. This is the most important way that UNESCO to promote accessible tourism in China. They call so-called pilot studies. This kind of pilot study try to organize a kind of work to do a special cases. One natural health site, another cultural health site. And the natural health site is in Wulingyuan, China. In this place, try to do some works. This place actually is my research area and my place for where I have do research about 20 years. 20 years ago, I started my research here. And we support the UNESCO. The first we signed a contract with the local government to work with them to as pilot study cases. In this way, the local authority, the local officers know that they are trying to work with UNESCO to do some pilot studies. And the most important job for the leader of this project is to increase the awareness of the local officers. The big boss of the local government, tell them the significance of conservation for the World Health Sites and tell them how to develop sustainable tourism and tell them what's the criteria of the sustainable tourism. And then we organize kind of a training program for the local authority, especially for the administrative staffs. I'll tell them the toolkits. That means that we tell them what kind of tools you can use, what kind of policy, what kind of strategy you can use to conserve the heritage, and also to try to make tourism more sustainable. In this way, we'll try to help them to increase the engagement of various stakeholders. For example, we try to provide training on recognition of OUV.
Dr. Zhang, it looks like we've lost you again. Hello, Dr. Zhang. Yes, we've lost him again. Let's give him a few minutes to reconnect. In the meantime, again, a reminder to all the participants to please put in your questions in the chat box. Terribly sorry for these issues. Dr. Zhang, can you hear us? There you are, Dr. Zhang. You'll need to unmute yourself.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. Go on.
Okay. Oh, I don't know why. I'm so sorry for that.
It's okay.
And the training program is specially organized for the staff in the government. And then we organize experts to interview local people and try to tell them what's the value of the heritage and try to help them understand the value of heritage and try to let them know how to deal with the value and the livelihood. And also we talk to the officers in the government face to face and let them know the value of heritage and the possible strategy and the policy you can use and help them how to balance the policy between conservation and tourism development. In this way, we try to help them to know clearly about what UNESCO wants us to do and what local government's expectation, what's the best way to balance kind of conflict. And another way is try to find a best example, try to find a local businessman and to work with them to find a good example to balance the tourism development and the business profits and the sustainable tourism. In this way, to build a World Heritage Exchange Center. In this place, all the experts and local community and the tourists can exchange ideas in this center and share the public facilities in this place. In this way, try to let more people understand this idea of sustainable tourism. Okay, there's the pilot studies about Bolivian cases, and also accept kind of program. And UNESCO do have another way to promote sustainable tourism. As we know that World Heritage Sites have to submit periodical report every 6 years, but actually there are part of them questions is about how to deal with the threat of tourism. In this report, the local authority has to answer what kind of policy, what kind of strategy, what kind of tools you have used to respond to the pressure of tourism, what's the possible negative impact of the tourism, and how to deal with the problems. In this way, the local authority will increase the awareness about the pressure of tourism and how to use the policy of sustainable tourism. And another way UNESCO try to promote sustainable tourism is to initiate some kind of awards for the best practice or the cultural heritage conservation. So this award since 2000 year, the award has recognized 275 winners from 22 countries. Actually, a lot of heritage sites are very active for this kind of award because in China, if the local authority has get this kind of awards, they will be encouraged by the local government or the up-level authorities to encourage them to show the achievement of the work. In this way, they're very active to do some kind of work to support heritage conservation. And also in the upcoming 44th session in this July, we are called for World Health Education for the Future programs. So this is a kind of word for the children World Health Education program. If any of you have done this kind of work, which is focused on to promote World Health Education, you can apply for these awards. And except that, UNESCO tried to establish kind of partnership with some other organizations such as UNWTO and UNEP, and also some United Nations foundations. They try to promote the indicators of sustainable tourism, especially to work with the UNWTO to build some monitoring indicators and to build some observatory sites in China and all over the other countries. As far as I know, now UNWTO has changed this program into establish some kind of sustainable tourism monitoring sites in China, Philippines, and New Zealand, and as far as I know, that even Laos or some other countries are trying to establish kind of observatory for sustainable tourism. In this way, UNWTO and UNESCO try to work together to promote the kind of indicators. But actually, we work with World Economic Forum, the Council of Sustainable Tourism. Right now, we are also producing kind of indicators to monitor the sustainability of tourist destination. Is also suitable for World Heritage Sites. Another way that they collaborate is to co-organize or co-host some conference or workshops on sustainable tourism. That's an easy way and is the most popular way to do this. And the third is also to capacity building or tourism plannings to promote sustainable livelihood. Right now, some foundation try to support the kind of way to have local people to find their suitable livelihood to deal with the tourism and the heritage conservation. And the last and the most important way for them to publish some guidance or tools for them to promote the OUV or try to find approaches to the local people to manage tourism more efficiently, responsibly, and sustainably. Okay, I would like to talk something about this reflection and suggestion for the sustainable tourism on World Heritage Sites. So first, we'd like to talk that after this kind of work has been done by UNESCO, the resilience of the World Heritage Sites has significantly improved because the local community has increased their understanding about the value of heritage sites. For example, in China, especially in some natural heritage sites in last year, because of pandemic situation, a lot of people are impacted by the pause of tourism. A lot of people lose the job, but in this, for example, except tourism, they also they also work with the traditional livelihood. They will also keep the traditional way of life alive. Even without tourism, they can still keep the life state in a reasonable level. And another way is that try to help them to keep the properties, especially with some cases in African countries with support of China. And another way is that to do some training programs with local people and the local administrative staffs. And for the experts or for the university people, we
And here we go again. We have lost Dr. Zhang. Dr. Zhang, can you hear us?
they try to have actually. I and my colleagues as experts to help local people to do tourism planning, do some training, to improve the capacity of local people. This work has been done for years. I think it's a very good way to do that. From my understanding, what we can do is try to focused on more international collaboration and communication through holding conference and workshops, publishing tools and guidance to conduct this kind of projects. And also we should pay more attention about engage local communities and households together to do this kind of a job. And the more important that we'll try to use the platform UNESCO, because with the platform UNESCO, we are more easily to call people together to promote sustainable tourism in destinations and to share the resources to do this. And also I try to promote the broad stakeholder engagement in planning, development, and management. We organize experts to do some kind of capacity building and do some kind of work to help local people to find the best livelihood to balance tourism and conservation. And also we'll try to find some of the other way, for example, students competition about the proposal about World Heritage Conservation and Tourism Development, and try to find students to promote the idea of protection OUV and promote tourism development. Okay, the last and most important, maybe I share information about the World Heritage Young Professionals Forum, which will hold in July 5th to 9th in online. So all of the young professionals are welcome. If you are between age 23 to 32, this is equally part of the 44th session of World Heritage Committee and within the framework of UNESCO. All the young professionals are encouraged to discuss about the World Heritage Site conservation and the local people's livelihood. If you have interest in this, you can visit this webpage to apply for this project. Okay, I'm sorry for this network problems. I have to be interrupted by some problems, but I'm happy to share some information with UNESCO. And if you have any questions, just ask me. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Zhang. I'm sorry you have to, face these technological issues, but anyway, we do have a number of questions coming in already, and what you've shared is very interesting. UNESCO's programs, the various approaches UNESCO has adopted to promote sustainable tourism. Now, there's a very good question on how can academic institutions in countries such as Nigeria partner with UNESCO to develop and sustain the country's cultural resources, as well as do something about their deteriorating heritage sites? Do you have anything to say about that, Dr. Zhang?
Okay, thank you. Actually, let me take me as an example. I started the research about tourism in the World Heritage from 1998. At that time, I just do some research in the sites and sometimes to talk with local authority and give them my suggestions. But sometimes they just think, okay, you are scholars, your ideas is good, but okay, just good. Okay, just the idea from scholar side. But with the publication of my research, I get more chances to work with UNESCO. I become the member of UNESCO scientific community in China. And then I get more and more resources from UNESCO. And then I apply to be the UNESCO chair in UCSI University about sustainable tourism. Right now, I talk with the local authority, local destinations. I tell them I am the UNESCO chair on sustainable tourism. I can help you to deliver some information, some information what you want to UNESCO. I understand what you want. I know what UNESCO asked you to do. And they are more willing to accept my suggestions because they know that all the World Heritage sites has to be strictly follow the policy of UNESCO. But most of them, because they are tourism oriented, because they are all interested in tourism, are not interested in heritage protection because they are most of them economic oriented. So in this way, okay, oh, you are an expert of tourism, but you also know the policy of heritage. So your suggestions is good. So in this way, I try to make them believe what I'm talking is the right policy, right suggestions. So it's time. Okay.
Yeah, Dr. Zhang, there's another question, and I think this is related to very much what you've been talking about. How does China sustain or preserve their heritage culture and sites? What steps have been taken? Is the, that brings us to the question, of course, of how rampant are the negative effects of heritage tourism on China's heritage sites? Since yesterday, we have been hearing about, how tourists have been destroying, disrespecting, heritage sites. So what are your thoughts on that, and how is China handling that?
But actually, the time is changing. As far as I know, the province is very serious around the 2000, because in China starts the World Heritage Sites program in 1985, At that time, nobody knows what about the World Heritage Sites, and no local government tried to apply the World Heritage Sites. But after 1990s, more and more local governments recognize that the value of to be listed on World Heritage list. So they try to ask the central government to apply this World Heritage list. So after 1998, China tried to promote the tourism industry. So at that time, more and more local government tried to develop tourism with the name of World Heritage. So at that time, a lot of tourism developed in the world sites without any concern about conservation of heritage. But in 2003, UNESCO seriously criticized this kind of phenomenon in China. And at that time, the central government recognized this sentence is very bad. So in 2004, China established a team, expert team, to
We are losing you again, Dr. Zhang. Hello, Dr. Zhang. Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay.
You're breaking again, Dr. Zhang.
The policy.
Hello, Dr. Zhang. You're breaking again. We can't really hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, seems clear now.
So naturally, it's very.
We've lost Dr. Zhang. Terribly sorry. We'll take one last question before we end the session. We are running out of time. So we'll let Dr. Zhang join us and address the question we had for him earlier. And one more question, and then we will end the session. Terribly sorry about this. Dr. Zhang, you're back. Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, yes.
Oh, so sorry for that. But actually, because the central government established kind of team to observe and monitoring this and to prove the awareness of sustainable tourism. And then in 2006, as far as I can remember, all the World Heritage have to publish a local regulation to preserve the heritage. And also, we organize a kind of training courses and also kind of international conference to invite national experts to help us to tell the local authority to increase awareness about this kind of the sustainable tourism concept. And also right now the central government has announced the policy to ask all the tourist destination, including water heritage sites, have to give the number of tourist invitation. All the to number, not if you set this limitation of the numbers, you will be punished. All the local legislation have to do this very seriously, and also we in the category called the central government the local we have special organization to to evaluate assessment review the officers about this kind of achievement of conservation. Only if the officers of the government failed to conserve the heritage, so that's very serious. So last 5 years, every officer in the government is very, very concerned about conservation, because if they fail to do this job, they will lose their position. Ooh. So that's very serious.
It is very serious. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Zhang. Again, apologies for the technical glitch. I'm afraid I will have to end the session. We've now come to the end. And of course, to the participants, apologies again for the technical problems. But if you'd like to further your discussions and contact Dr. Zhang, please feel free to do that. And a recording of this session has also been uploaded on the website www.responsibleborneo.com. So thank you very much for your patience, and enjoy the rest of the conference. And thank you, Dr. Zhang. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you.